Welcome to day 14 of our exploration of Handel's Messiah for Advent. Today, 4 short musical items that set 4 Old Testament verses. They are like panels in a window onto the most momentous revolution in history, namely the overthrow of death in Messiah's resurrection. Charles Jennens' literary brilliance shines here. It shines through. He picks texts that hint at the very deepest aspects of this great reversal. See, Messiah's resurrection is not just a biological event. It's a spiritual vindication. It must be. Because death itself isn't merely a physical event. It's a divinely imposed sentence, a rebuke, a curse, a judgment against human sin. Messiah died under that rebuke. God's rebuke has broken his heart. Jennens chose the translation of Psalm 69 that most strongly stresses this point, that it was God's rebuke that broke his heart. Next, Jennens chooses a verse from the Lamentations that the prophet Jeremiah wrote over the ruins of Jerusalem. God's judgment had fallen upon it. The city's sorrow under that sentence is a preview of the ultimate desolation that Messiah will experience. He is appointed to die, held guilty for the accumulated human wickedness of all ages. How could anyone come back from that? He was innocent in himself, yet he died with vastly more guilt attaching to him than anyone else has ever died. Yet he is vindicated. True, in words from Isaiah chapter 53 again, he was cut off from the land of the living, but it was for the transgressions of the people he was stricken, not for his own. And so God reversed the verdict and vindicated his Messiah. In words from the prophetic Psalm 16, Messiah was not left in the place of death. Thou didst not leave his soul in hell. And not only did his body not see corruption, it was physically raised. So Jennens' choice of texts has shown that the resurrection of Jesus' body was the consequence of his vindication, spiritually speaking, theologically speaking, in the Father's eyes. And by the way, if he is vindicated, so are all those he represents. So they too will rise bodily to life. More of that in a few days. Well, I focused on Jennens' skill. Handel's on form here as well. His music joins together death and resurrection inseparably in one sequence, as they truly are. So there's a steady progressive journey through the whole sequence from minor to major keys. And as you listen, carefully compare and contrast the tune in Behold and See, which is about the cross, and But thou didst not leave his soul in hell, which is about the resurrection. The tunes have an almost identical shape, the shape of an upside down V. Behold and see. And then, but thou didst not leave. But do you see the almost identical shaped tune, but the first tune is in the minor key and feels forlorn. The second is in the major key and the sun comes out. He's saying these two events are intricately linked and yet utterly contrasting. But before we listen to the music, a prayer. Father God, we praise you for vindicating your Messiah, the man Jesus, from his cursed death for the sins of the world. As we trust that he died for us, assure us that we stand vindicated in him. By the inner witness of the Spirit. Amen.